Hey friends, I hope you all are doing wonderful. So friends, today we are going to discuss in detail what are all those different S3 storage classes from AWS S3. So let's get started. So yeah, as you know, for the S3 bucket, there are like different storage classes are which are associated with it. Say for example, when we list the object in the S3 bucket, the console will show us the storage class for that object. Okay, when we are uploading any object or downloading it from the S3 bucket, then it will show us what is the particular storage class which is associated with that. And in the AWS, so it offers like different various storage classes based on our requirement. So like say there are different use cases. Say for example, we want to store or mission critical production data. In that case, we can go for S3 standard, which is for frequently accessed data. Okay. If say we have a data which is which is not very much frequently, but it will be needed instantly as and when required, then we can choose either of S3 standard IA. IA stands for infrequent access, or S3 one zone IA. So we will see in the detail what is the difference between both of these. Then say if we want to archive and if we need to go for the lowest possible storage class while using the S3, then we can go for S3 Glacier. So there are total three types: S3 Glacier Instant Archive, Flexible Archive, as well as S3 Glacier Deep Archive. Again, this we will be talking soon. And if say in case there is unknown on changing data access pattern. Say for example, like data is sometimes is required frequently on a frequent basis, and sometimes it's not required very frequent, or it is infrequent. In that case, it will be automatically managed by S3 intelligent tiering. So these are like total 7 storage classes that S3 offers us to store our data. And let's talk about each of the storage class in brief in the next slides. Yeah, you can see these are the total 7 storage classes: S3 standard, S3 standard IA. IA stands for infrequent access. Then S3 one zone IA, S3 intelligent tiering, and for the Glacier we have total 3 classes. First is S3 Glacier instant retrieval, S3 Glacier Flexible Retrieval, and last one is S3 Glacier Deep Archive. Yeah. So now let's talk about S3 Standard. So basically S3 Standard, as we have seen the use case, so it is for the mission critical production data. If we want to store our mission critical production data, we can choose the S3 Standard. So this is for performance sensitive use cases that requires millisecond access time. Yeah, that is we told like it's for whenever we need a very critical data, and at frequently and instantly when it needed, so we can use the S3 standard. And while the data is stored in the S3 standard, it gets stored redundantly across multiple geographically separated availability zone. So in case say any one of the availability zone gets down, even in that case we have our data available and that can be instantly retrieved. Okay, so please note that this is a default storage class. It means like say we are uploading our files or pictures or movies on the S3 bucket and we have not selected any storage class, then by default S3 will assign S3 standard as a storage class. Okay, however, it's not recommended to use this type of storage class because it's very it's one of the costliest among all the storage class. Like among all the 7 storage class, if you are storing any data, so the S3 standard will cost you more as compared to the other storage classes. Now let's see what is the S3 standard IA. So S3 standard IA and S3 one zone IA, these two are used or designed for infrequently accessed and long lived data. So same like S3 standard, the objects are available for milliseconds access, like like S3 standard storage class. Yeah, and same like it has the same feature as what the S3 standard is offering, but the only difference is this is for keeping our infrequently accessed data. So again, like this storage class offers availability and resiliency than S3 standard one zone class. Yeah. So S3 basically S3 standard IA, infrequently access, stores our data in the more availability zone. And however S3 one zone IA, so the name itself is suggesting that one zone, it will mean the data will be stored in only one of the availability zone. Okay, that hence the only difference between S3 IA and S3 one zone IA. Okay, so when you will go for S3 standard infrequently access storage class, so say if you want to store the data such, for the primary or only copy of data that cannot be recreated, you can use this storage class. Again, if you want to store your backups, you can use this. And if in case, for storing the data that is accessed infrequently, but whenever it is needed, it requires, milliseconds of access. In that case, we can, we are good to select S3 standard infrequently access. Yeah, now let's see about S3 one zone IA. So as the name is itself is suggesting one zone, it means this particular storage class will store our data in only one of the availability zone. Okay, so same like, this is particularly designed for infrequently accessed data, and it is less expensive than S3 standard. Like it is less expensive than previous one, because it is storing our data only in one of this availability zone. Okay, however the data is not resilient to the physical loss of availability zone. Yeah, so if in case the wherever we are using S3 one zone IA and that availability zone itself can, goes down, or there is loss of the physical loss of that, so in that case data is not resilient. Okay, so that we need to take into consideration when we are going to use the S3 one zone IA. But it is less available and less resilient. Yeah, so that we are saying it is same durable as standard IA, but it is less available because it stores the data in only one zone and hence less resilient. So when you will choose the one zone IA, say if we can recreate the data, if say we are keeping, say you can say the log file, there are some copies you have, a copy is available, and that can be, even if those copies or data if gets lost, we can recreate. In that case we can go for S3 one zone IA. And similar to the previous class, we can use this for storing our backups and for storing the data which is which is not very much which is not accessed very frequently. So in that case we can go for S3 one zone IA. I hope you got this point, and you got the the difference between S3 infrequently accessed like S3 standard IA and one zone IA. Only difference is the S3 IA will keep the data in the 3 availability zones, and the data will be more resilient. However, one zone is it keeps only in one of the availability zone. Okay. Yeah. Now let's see what S3 intelligent tierings offers from the S3 storage class. So basically, this is the perfect storage class to optimize our storage costs. Say for there is a data we are keeping, and that has unknown or changing access pattern. So sometimes, let's say we need the data very frequently, or sometimes it's not needed and it can be stored for longer duration. In that case, what S3 intelligent tiering, it has got some of it uses its own intelligence. So it works by monitoring the access pattern. Say we are how the data is being accessed, it will observe that pattern, and then it will decide, okay, like how then where that needs to be the data needs to be kept. So say it monitors the access pattern, and it then moves the objects that are not accessed in last 30 days. So say if the objects are frequently getting access, those will be kept in the the standard tiers. Okay, and if say particular file is not being accessed, like last access time is not in the last 30 days, it will start moving it to the storage cost storage classes which are like which are having list or like lower cost offering. So it will work in that basis. Okay. And even we can configure the S3 intelligent tiering as the default storage class. Say there is a provision in the we can directly choose this one as the default storage class, and we can store our data itself. So this is this is designed to optimize the storage class by automatically moving data to the most cost effective access tier. Yeah, that's we have seen. So it will decide, okay, it's if it's getting access frequently or it's not getting access frequently in the 30 days of 30 consecutive days, and it will decide. Okay, so there is one thing that we need to note. Say if the size of the object or file, say it's very less than 128 kbs, then it is not monitor and not eligible for auto tiering. Yeah, so the smaller objects are always stored in the frequent access tier. So say we have a file which is lesser than 128 kb, so in that case it's not eligible to be stored in the S3 intelligent tiering tier, and it will be stored in the frequent access tier, which is our S3 standard. So only S3 standard offers the frequent access tier. The rest of the other classes are infrequently access and the mix of both. Yeah. Now let's see about what's the S3 Glacier instant retrieval. So this storage class is for for archiving objects. So archiving, you can say there's a difference between backup and archive. Archive is something like you are not changing and it is kept for years, like say 5 years or 7 years where the data is being stored. It is not required very much frequently in that case, and the main property of the S3 Glacier class is it offers the lowest cost among the other previous 4 ones. Okay, so yeah, this storage class offers the same durability and resiliency as the S3 standard and S3 standard IA storage classes. Okay, so this is used particularly for archiving the data that is rarely accessed and require milliseconds retrieval. Say we need to retrieve the data that is kept, so it will takes the times from seconds or minutes to hours based on which type of Glacier class we are using. There are total 3 Glacier classes, and based on that it will be the latency will be or data retrieval time will be dependent on that type. Okay, and another thing about this particular class is S3 Glacier instant retrieval has higher data access cost than S3 standard, because when it is needed, then it will be retrieved from the storage classes which are associated with that. Hence it will be the retrieval costs are higher as compared to S3 standard infrequently access. Let's see another. So this is S3 Glacier Flexible Retrieval. Like in case of instant retrieval, like the previous class, say I need to I have stored my data in this particular class and I need to use it, then in that case previous one would offer me the less time, so that's it. Hence it is called as instant retrieval. However, this one, like flexible retrieval, will cost will take some time, like from minutes to hours, so that that data can be retrieved or read from this particular class of storage. So yeah, you can see. Yeah, and lastly, this is like S3 Glacier Deep Archive. So among the Glacier and among all those the 6 storage classes, this S3 Glacier Deep Archive, it costs the lowest storage cost option in the AWS. Okay, so you can see like storage costs for S3 Glacier Deep Archive are less expensive than using the S3 Glacier Flexible Retrieval. Like the previous one, it is like lowest one. Okay, but we need to one thing need to be considered. Okay, this is again since this comes into the Glacier storage class, this is used for archiving the data that is rarely accessed. So you have stored it and you are rarely going to access. In that case only we can choose this one. Okay, and like there is like minimum retention requirement. So data stored in the S3 Glacier Deep Archive storage has a minimum storage duration period of 180 days and default retrieval time of 12 hours. Yeah, so if we want to access this particular data from this particular deep archive storage class, the retrieval time will be up to 12 hours. So so if our requirement means like, if say only the cost saving is our intention, or our the use case, or say the scenario, in a particular scenario we are concerned about the cost and data access time is not at all a concern. In that case we can choose this one, which offers the lowest cost for the storing its data. Okay, so yeah, so friends, I hope I covered all those 7 storage classes for the S3, and I hope like you got to learn what are the storage classes different. So let me summarize everything. Say if you are going to look for frequently accessed data, then we can go for S3 standard, which is default storage class. If say we are going to store the data which is not very much access, or it is infrequently accessed, but when we need it on an instant basis, so there are two options for that. One is S3 standard IA and S3 one zone IA, infrequently accessed. Okay, say we don't know, say we are not very much sure how much how the data access will be about the pattern, like sometimes it is required very fast, or sometimes it's not at all required, and it can be kept for the infrequently access. In that case we can go for S3 intelligent tiering, and S3 intelligent tiering will has a mechanism like it will based on the access pattern of that particular file, it will decide whether which storage should be used, and based on that it will choose the very best one of the cost effective storage class for us. So that is for S3 intelligent tiering, because it has its own intelligence to decide where the data needs to be stored. And finally we have S3 Glacier class. S3 Glacier offers 3 types of classes: S3 Glacier instant retrieval, S3 Glacier flexible retrieval, and S3 Glacier deep archive. So instant retrieval is something again the Glacier family comes for the archive, something you are keeping for the years, and this particular class is the lowest cost offering from S3 storage class. So instant retrieval will be something like we have kept the data and the data can be retrieved within minutes to hours. Okay, then flexible retrieval, it will take more time as compared to instant retrieval. And finally it's S3 Glacier deep archive. So this can take a default retrieval time of 12 hours. So it will take one of the longest time among the Glacier family deep archive, but this is the lowest option like to store our data. So friends, thank you so much for your time. I hope you learned and you enjoyed this session. Okay, please stay tuned, and we will see we will have some other funs while seeing the demonstration on the S3. So please like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel. It's Cloud with Mohsin. Okay, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Bye bye.